Alright, well, hello everybody, I was just, how my name is William. Alright, well, today I'm going to talk about another California bill that might be passing, and that might be signed into law pretty soon. It's called the Protect, I'll tell you what it's called. It's AB 991, about digital games ordinary use. I'll tell you, yeah, it's called, what is this bill called? Well, I'll tell you what it's called. It's called Protect Our Games Act. Okay? And here's the bill for it right here, so that's why. Right here, it says right here, this bill will guard digital games for first bill produced were released for purchase on or after January 1st, 2028, and subject of certain exceptions. It will require a digital game operator communicate satisfy information for just 60 days. So, I know people are saying 2027, but no. It will be game released on purchase after January 1st, 2028. So, yeah. See? It's right on the ordinary use the game and the bill what date of purchases of its among things. So, this is a doing games as the controller. The bill authorized Attorney General. And the Attorney General, it will only be Rob Bonta or Bill Gates. Or it will become the next Attorney General of California, yeah. And when the state attorney will bring some action in violation of these provisions. So now it was going to be on January 1st, 2027, but it looks like now they delayed it to January 1st, 2028 now. So, and this bill is going to be regarding digital games to be released for purchase on or after January 1st, 2028. So, this bill called AB 1921. Yeah. Now, I know the USA wants to think this is a misguided bill. You can read it right here if you want to, anyway. But I'll read it from Sacramento Bee. Well, here, see, and it says there's also a long paragraph about this too, so here I'll read from Sacramento Bee. Cowboys writes the integrated opinion. So for verse 132 is the games of the consoles and the consoles at station waiting eventually a universal invitation of the source of the connection story as a gamer. Enjoy of the content others rooted of the digital downloads carnets are rapidly disappearing and is just biggest companies. Sony PlayStation, alongside Xbox companies, and it is to continue releases. For all new gamers starting in January 2028, instead of new games to stream through the internet, uses control box and about keeper of the information obsolete. The video game industry is bringing clear games need a disc becoming a thing of the past, but if the game shifts, need to reserve access, ownership, and the gaming culture that has been more important. Investigator has bedrock of gaming, which has became one ownership of the retro games midtown, a physical mystery of the game archive. Look at this case of things I want to play as frozen in time. He says there's all stuff that's accessible and will preserved through decades. The shelves of cartridges of the symbol of the timeline game industry, and it's a no digital storefront that besides keep alive forever. And it's because of ingredient of this Game Boy. Ever since a kid, Game Boy didn't. It's a frustration getting past levels. Bounce doesn't worry about his ownership game being in danger. Especially in retro games of this idea that already exist. Now, I'll be right back. My mom is calling me. Yes, Mom? Okay. Okay, and now I want to go back to my room. Okay, guys, so I'm back, and you said right here, let's keep reading now. I mean, thanks, Rachel tells like GameStop, but it just depends on selling games, other consoles. Hard Time argues on digital future, and then those argues that it says it carries the next PlayStation or Xbox at all. But this is not very sensitive to tell a story like PlayStation PlayStation 6. If there's not going to be that media, they're selling with it. He says balancing concerns is just speculation. There's really the industry of shifting on digital only, where it could be taking away a few clicks. That's only one lawmaker stepping in. Now, protecting players, any games go digital. So, California Assembly Bill 1921, also known as the Protect Our Games Act, aims to ensure gamers aren't left empty-handed of companies that pull the plug. The game, authored by the Assembly member Chris Wald, de San Diego, requires a company to warn players at least 60 days in advance of plans to shut down the online services on game identity on a fully function. I noticed that most companies would focus on disappearing while there are new impacts on users. But it doesn't stop at hands up. Once the service goes offline, the company has to offer players one real solution. One way to keep playing games offline, and the tools of should please by the company, so players can keep playing together online, even after official support ends, for a full refund if none of it is possible. And once support ends, the companies give selling versions of the game so they no longer work. As California's millions of gamers face this new era, it's critical to ensure that maintain a stake of the industry. That's exactly why I will support AB 1921. To protect our games that balances realities and evolving market that the need of the protect players' investments. While the physical media wants to provide a sense of ownership and control, AB 921 offers practical solutions for digital games, ensuring that players aren't left behind as technology advances. Now, what do I think about this bill? I believe this bill is great and all. I'm glad that California has. I'm glad that my state, California, has thought of this bill. You know, AB 1921. But after all the other bad bills we got, I'm still glad we still got this good bill. So yes, I do support AB 1921, the Protect Our Games Act, because, and plus, I still play Unreal Tournament to this day anyway. And plus, you know what? And plus, I still play Unreal Tournament to this day anyway. Yeah. And Unreal Gold is before that anyway. So you got, Unreal Gold before that. And then you got Unreal Tournament after that. So that's why. Now, yes, I know, and it is to the return to Napoli is the, well, it's the expansion pack of the original game of Unreal before we got Unreal Tournament anyways. Yeah, and we also got Unreal 2 The Awakening as well. Before that, yeah. And then Unreal 2003, I have that game too. There it is. See? Unreal 2003. And if you have it, and if you look in the back, it says Unreal 2 The Awakening coming soon. It's already here anyway, so yeah. And you also, yeah, there's also Unreal 2004. Yeah, there it is right here, yeah. Unreal Tournament 3. And if you want to look at, oh yeah, and there's the canceled Unreal Tournament 4. Oh yeah, January 23rd, so January 24, 2023 is when the Unreal Tournament is when all the Unreal games shut down. So. But yeah, Unreal Tournament 4, it did survive on the event project called Unreal Tournament 4 UU, so that's why. And then for Champion Games, I never played Unreal Championship yet, and there's also Unreal Championship 2, so, and I never played that one yet, but I might get to it someday. But here's Unreal Wiki anyway. Now what about the other game I have? Because you might be thinking, right? Well, I also played this game, Total Annihilation. Right? Yes. Which is a game made by Cave Dog in 1997. I also have books. I also have a couple of books. Yeah. You can see. Yeah. I got Total Annihilation. Exclusive strategy guidebook right here. And I got Total Annihilation of Kingdoms. Official strategy guidebook as well. And I'll show you Total Annihilation of Kingdoms. On this internet here, so that's why. And I also got Battle Tactics as well. This book here. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you can see these are very old games I used to play, you know. So this is so you know you can read about Total Annihilation here, and if you want to read about its expansion packs, like Core Contingency, Yes, the core contingency. You can read about that here. It takes. Yeah. And you also got battle tactics, which is focusing on different kinds of missions. That's why. But not only that, you also got the 3.1 patch as well. And now let's get to this one. Now, Torn Unleashed in Kingdoms, if you want to know, it's yeah, it's another it's just regular Torn Annihilation, but it's more like medieval. It has 5 factions. You know, because on regular Torn Annihilation, you got core and then arm, but on Torn Annihilation and Kingdoms, you get 5. Airmon, Interos, Bruna, and Jean. But there's also one more faction. I don't know why. Yeah. And I'll get to it soon. Yeah, that's the original 4. Yeah, the 40 missions are, yeah, the name of the original campaign of Torn Annihilation is called the Book of Darien. And I know where that is anyway. Yeah, so it's called the Book of Darien. That's what it's called anyway. The very first campaign, the very first campaign. But once you get to and then in the expansion pack, it's called the Iron Plague, and there's a new faction called Creon. That's why. It's a 25 mission single player campaign, but you know, there's always another one. Because the 25 mission single player campaign, it will show these, you know, the original 4 factions being a victory. But not only that, there's also another one. Right here, it says, for Torn Annihilation Kingdoms, right here. It says there is a hidden mission included with the campaign that needs a mission outside the game order to be played. Mission involves that Creon being victorious instead of being defeated, however. This mission is somewhat nonsensical to the Kingdom's storyline. So, and I did that. Now, let me tell you something. The mission then involves Creon being victorious and then be defeated. Well, that level is called Father's Day, when you get to play as Creon and you have to fight against all 4 factions. I played that level before. It's called Father's Day. You know, that's why. And yeah, you can also call it Creon Glory as well. Yeah, I have fun playing that one. It's hard, but the point is that there's no victory scene of what will happen if Creon wins anyway. But yeah, I bet Creon will take over the world of Darien anyway if they won anyway. So, but anyway, I'm not gonna take a look at that, so that's fine. So that's the Iron Plague right here. If you want to take a look at that. So yes, I played Total Annihilation as well as the Unreal games. So now, the Protect Our Games Act. So what is the Protect Our Games Act? So Embassy Bill 1921 is the legislation introduced by the Stop Killing Games Bill in California that would provide protections, transparency to consumers of video game developers, and make a difficult decision to pull support their projects when of vending games of the supporting original of the disease case. Why this act matters? Right now, the Protect Your Games Act Committee will vote away in the Senate, and the votes on Monday, June 29th. That this passes, will require to give you 60 days before shutting down the game. It is refund at. Remember, the concern that 2 weeks after launch, and this stuff is killed, nothing. Every 20 is a fix, and it's simply already passed 41 to 16. So bipartisan now. It will get to the Senate, and the senator needs to set for before Monday. So if you live in California, it takes 2 minutes to call your senator today. Yeah. So yeah. Now I do promote the Protect Your Games Act. So if you want to call your senator, I would say vote yes on the Protect Our Games Act, because I promote this bill. I would like it, you know. I like the Stop Killing Games movement, but we need a new bill. We need a new movement. There's also another paragraph you can read right here, but I'm not going to read this one because this will take too long for me to read. But yes, I do protect the stop. I do. So Protect Our Games Act. I promote this bill, AB 1921. I do support it. So great. Happy about this. But what does Steve Hilton say anything about it? And also his Democrat competitor, Xavier Becerra. I don't know. I have no idea. Because that's the person I'm voting for California governor, that's why. You know, what does Steve Hilton think of AB 221 and Protect Our Games Act? So here, California Government Against Southern supports AB 221 and Protect Our Games Act. And if it's a bill to protect gamers digital gets erased when companies start down, there's also goals for games and games movement. You can track this campaign going news right of Steve Hilton. So looks like Steve Hilton strongly supports AB 1921 to Protect Our Games Act. Well, that's great. I'm still voting for him for governor. I don't know if he will win in November though, because the problem is that and also my YouTube channel. I was telling people not to vote for Xavier Becerra because you will have full support of IDH vacation, digital ID. Don't vote for him anyways. That's what I said anyway. And there's also right here, even though I'm a Republican, any politician towards IDH vacation will just lose my vote anyways. That's what I said anyway. And then let's take a look about Steve Hilton's opponent, Xavier Becerra. So I'm glad Steve so strongly supports AB 1921, but what about his opponent, Xavier Becerra? So I'm going to search up the container regarding the sources about Diego criticisms of internet salvation. Now, there's no public record of Xavier Becerra expressing his opinion of an opinion on the Protector against I-921. The Secretary of Health Services does not comment regarding bill of conservation. Protector against Zagaduce discriminates about what the services for against a patch of a refund. And then like Becerra does not weigh the stable consumer protections of the gaming industry that remains unknown. Okay, so it looks like only Steve Hilton supports this bill. And I support it too, that's great. But we got another problem here. Because why? I did not want to close that. Stupid. Anyway, I'll fix this. Now, I want to show you why. Now, I want to show you why Xavier thinks that. So, Facebook is suggesting that they use to determine contain that California remains a premier global destination. He argues Benito Persist argues Official changes that Steve Hilton argues that California is a taxation. So Becerra's view is the headaches of equality in life. The significant change in Vance's elections page. Well, I want to show you something because Let me put a picture in here first, and I'll show you why. Okay. Alright, let's go look at my YouTube channel, and I'll take the look at post. Well, here, see? So, right here, this is what Xavier Becerra says. He says that California doesn't need change because people still come to Disneyland. Now, that is very stupid. Okay? Why? Come on. Colin, you might think about that too. And so this is why. Do you really want this guy, or do you want Steve Hilton? You know, that's what I'm going to say is. Well, yeah, black opponents like Ken and Steven is criticized such a defense with to guards argue. Places like Disneyland is a growing crisis in California, including the high cost of shortages and taxation. So, yeah, the visiting numbers of Disneyland beaches in California disability. Okay, and change. Well, yeah, he's ignoring it. So, why? First of all, it is true that California is the fourth largest has the fourth largest economy, but does not act like it. First of all, you have to learn about that. That's why. And even though California does have Disneyland, And also Disney's California Adventure. It means nothing. Okay? I don't know why. The only way the world changes is to vote for Steve Hilton. But you know what? I don't know why people want to just vote blue and nothing change anyway. And yeah, this is why. Yeah, this guy. He thinks California needs to chase people stuck on in Disneyland. Yeah, that's just so stupid anyway. Yeah, I know, but California has a bunch of theme parks. I don't know why. Here's Disney's California Adventure. And I also point out Universal Studios Hollywood as well. And then you got but you know, and I know we got SeaWorld. Okay, yeah. Well, let's look at Sea. I want to take a SeaWorld San Diego. Right here, see? It looks like a SeaWorld San Diego here. And then also, I don't know why. There's a lot of theme parks in California. I don't know why. Legoland. I used to go to Legoland too when I was younger. And then, and I don't know why. There's also a Sesame Place as well. But, that too. But anyway, I don't know why this guy. It's just so stupid anyway. And I'm going to show you something else. Let's look at China's version. Alright, here it is. Because even China has Disneyland, but it's in Shanghai, so it's called Shanghai Disneyland. That's what it is. I don't know why. Because I mean, even Shanghai has Disney. It's like it's even China has Disneyland in Shanghai, and then and also China also has Universal Studios in Beijing. Let me show you. There it is, right there. Um, hmm. And you've got, oh yeah, there's Beijing is somewhere over here. Okay. And China also has SeaWorld too. I will show you. Oh yeah, it's in Guangdong province. You see, I don't know why this guy. California does not act like the second biggest economy. And I can also show you different ways. Anyway, so I want to show you something about that. That's why. Here, as I said that California does not need change because people still go to Disneyland. How likely it belongs to Disneyland? Yeah, I know. Anyway. So that's just so stupid anyway. This guy. But yes, I do support AB 1921, the Protect Our Games Act, though. Yeah, but we need a new move. So yes, I do propose to stop killing games movement. We need a new movement, though, which is, and yes, you can help with this too. I'll talk about the folder ID and also the stop tax hikes as well, but I want to get to that. Yeah, you can help some more. You can also help with reform on stuff on reformcalifornia.org. And if you want to call your representatives, you got betternewbills.com. Here it says the Kids Act passed the House, but the fight isn't over. So, yep, you still have to call your local representatives if you can to say no to IDH-fication. And we need, we create a new movement, stop killing the internet. Well, by calling our representatives in Congress and tell them to vote to say no on bad internet bills, right? Yeah, that's why. So, and tell them, and yeah, you have to tell them that you will lose my vote if you support these bad bills over here. And you can also watch my how to go to, you can also watch my how to go to heaven video. If you want to know how to go, you can also watch my how to go to heaven video. Yeah, please make sure to how to my go to heaven video on Rumble or BitChute, anyways. But I will keep it on this. So. I believe the next thing I'll be talking about is, and what's the next movie we talk about? Well, I'll talk about the next thing I'll be talking about is chat control. Because that passed in Europe. And I'll talk about that some other time, next video, some other time, Maybe I'll talk about it next video. Chat control, because I don't like that at all. Well, I'll talk about chat control next video, and then after I'll talk about and then after that, maybe later I'll talk about Utah's VPN bill as well. Yeah, if this right here got delayed to September. I'll read about that too. All right. Anyway, I have to go right now. But thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed this. Goodbye. Adios and Zaijian.